Let me go. I'm gonna do my quick checks of the platforms real quick.
Am
Get
I
a little bit of sharing going on.
either?
Um, I can actually put them up. Let me see.
Okay.
Yeah, I can put the chat up right here. Um, so let's see. Yep, we are live on YouTube. I wasn't supposed to download that. Share this thing on the Insta of the gram, and then as you're talking, I'll share it to other platforms. Um, so is that okay? That's me. Um, put this on Miss Story, and we gonna do the intros. Yeah, forgive our silence, folks. I just want to make sure that you know, those who aren't aware, we live, we live. So um, give me 1 second. Boom, boom. All right, that's on all the things I'll share as you're talking. Peace to the gods. Shout out to the goddesses. I go by Nafi. Uh, and this is the Perceptive Thoughts podcast. We're sharing perspectives one thought at a time. And the goal of this platform, as always, is to kind of have a free ground where we can just speak our piece and do what it do. Right? Nothing. The goal is nothing but truth on the platform. So, our topic today is hip hop culture in 2022 and beyond. I am here with artist, poet, curator, mother, spiritual advisor. She wears many hats, and it's for good reason. It's because she's multifaceted, and I think that there isn't anyone better to have this conversation, especially being from South Carolina. Um, I just know from experience as well as just observation that she is very much so a key piece in a lot of artists working together and doing what it is they do. Um, vibing with Cr3Wizdom or vibing with Cree. That's her media platform. Um, and we're really just gonna dive straight into the topic. Like I said before we started, like I think it's important that we have people catch from South Carolina specifically kind of open up this topic. And hopefully this sheds some light for a lot of artists. There's gonna be some jewels drop, so definitely tap into those. But with that being said, Cree, definitely go ahead and introduce yourself. Let people know what you do. You give us a little bit of context as to who you are, and then we're just gonna dive right in. So,
Thank you for that introduction. I feel like you covered a lot. So my name is Cree. My artist. I'm a hip hop artist. I model. I rap. And then on the other side of that, I'm with Cree, which was founded in this need to showcase of artists. So I'm very huge on authenticity and diversity. I wear many hats. Some people tell me I'm a tastemaker. Some people call me the plug. Just recently started calling myself a spiritual advisor because while I've been consultant artist for marketing, branding, how to network, how to communicate, I realized it's been spirit driven this whole time. I try to help artists with alignment, try to help who they need to connect with to reach their goals and to share their art. Yeah, I would definitely say I'm a trailblazer here. Very responsible for me. I just like to connect people. I like to see people work together. I like to collaborate. And the short bio.
yeah, my mic muted. Cool, cool. So, obviously, you got your feet hurt. Somebody told me the other day, your feet hurt. You definitely taking your steps. You've definitely been on this journey, both spiritually, all the things, right? So, again, there's no one better to really talk about the topic. Um, so I guess we'll really start with your current thoughts on music. And when I well, no, before we get there, I want your current thoughts on the industry, because there is especially now, when I say industry, you know exactly what industry I'm talking about, right? There is a definite distinction between music and then the industry behind the music, right? They go together, they are hand in hand, but you have to recognize that there's two sides to the same coin. So now, when I say industry, again, it's more so the mainstream, what's really pushed to us as far as what we would even consider hip hop, right? Or what's labeled as hip hop. So definitely give us your perspectives on, the industry.
Wow, when I was thinking about these questions, I realized it's very, so I feel like the industry is a huge puppet show. And it's like a puppet show. It's a space where people see, hey, there's talent here. We don't care too much about the talent. We want to focus on the money, on what we believe is the demand. And what we do is we create these there are illusions that are created that drives the of the industry. And also, it's crazy because I'm currently working at concerts right now, even though I'm in the kitchen. I'm working concessions at concerts and major concerts, and I'm realizing the difference between what is the hip hop concerts and then the big pop stars. And I realize when it comes to the hip hop concerts, we see these artists that are hungry. Let's find a way to them. Let's find a way. And you have some artists who kind of get caught up in that wheel of to get my foot in, and then I can be myself. So I see a whole and documentary on that, but
yeah, I can definitely see that. There's a lot of Jabril. I don't know if you're familiar with Jabril. He's an R&B artist. That's love that guy, man. I love his vibe. He said, clout really, like, it didn't kill the art, but it kind of overshadowed the art, right? We're no longer focusing on people's stories, how people are expressing, and how that relates to their image. Instead, it's strictly just image. Like, if it's interesting to see the response from people when you look popping or you look relevant versus when you don't look as relevant. Even if the art is good, even if it's intentional, even if it comes from an authentic space, if it doesn't look the part, we almost kind of like look the other way. I'm big on resonance. Like, if the art resonate with you, we rocking. If it don't resonate with you, that's fine. And I do believe that how you present yourself is important, but your image should not be the sole driving factor behind your artistry. Even on the flip side of that, it's two sides of the same coin, right? The industry really, the systems themselves, as far as the industry goes, isn't bad. Utilizing streaming platforms, utilizing things like YouTube, utilizing things like podcasts and stuff like that. That's not an issue. The issue, I think, is how they're moving with these platforms, right? So, what is being promoted on these platforms? Like, what is the intention behind the artists that they are sharing? I'm gonna turn this on because I look a little blackety black. So that is where I kind of like stop and analyze. And I'm also a proponent in forget the background sounds. I'm also a big proponent of, again, you need both, right? Not necessarily the industry, quote unquote, how we're talking about it, but more so utilizing all the tools available. So why would you not be on Spotify, right? Why would you not make sure your intellectual property is okay? Why wouldn't you create your own platform? Um, and everyone doesn't have that aspiration either. So, again, it's multi-layered. It's not just, oh, I don't feel like promoting, like, it's multifaceted. Um, what do you how do you think uh artists treat, um I guess, the availability of some of these new tools, right? Spotify is now allowing you to put videos, which I think is crazy. Um, so, kind of talk about just how artists are utilizing the tools that are available, industry or no industry, right? Because we're definitely going to talk about independent artists, but or what we call independent artists. But this just talk to us about how these artists are utilizing the tools that are available to get their art outside.
Definitely doing their due diligence. In a sense, sometimes it can seem like just trying to find a fit. What tool I'm going to use, what tool I'm going to stick to. But I feel like I just feel like artists may even get caught up, like really caught up in to find the best tool, or overusing one tool, or getting really sucked into a tool. Like TikTok. They're like, yo, you got to be on TikTok. You got to be on TikTok. Then you have these videos, a whole lot of different things that you can do to market yourself, or even if it's just organizing the back end. But I feel like a lot of almost every artist I talk to is overwhelmed with the process. There is the fact that they have to keep up and do all these things, and it's taken away. But at the end of the day, when we look at the way the industry is set up, if you don't have management team, distribution team, label, that is, you have to do the work. So in that, artists are definitely growing to be more creative, so overwhelmed and having a hard time with that balance of energy. Should I devote to this tool? Should I put all my tools all in this one basket? That, it can hinder the art in a sense. But on the other side of it, I feel like actually figure it out. You know what I mean? But it's a journey to figuring it out. People have been telling me some new video tools to use lately, and I'm like, I'm so comfortable, basic, simple InShot. But I feel like, am I in a space to learn? You know what I mean? That's a real thing. So yeah.
Yeah. And what do you feel like can help artists kind of strike that balance? Because like you said, especially as someone who kind of manages a lot of platforms, like, you know, I can kind of see how some get neglected. Like, I don't use TikTok. Like, I used to, but then I kind of just post and leave. Like, I don't buy into the virality, like, because that's what they want to say. Oh, you can go viral. So, you know, so what do you feel like can help artists kind of strike that balance?
Well, first, I believe artists need to always evaluating what exactly am I trying to get from this tool, and not get stuck in syndrome. Uh, we also have to realize these platforms are created so that we could stay on them all the time. They people to be addicted to these platforms. So sometimes you might numbers. Oh snap! The numbers are going up. I gotta keep doing this, and there's nothing wrong, because you should follow the numbers. But when it's at the expense of your mental, your spiritual health, then you have to. What am I really doing this for? What is this exactly goal right now? What is my short-term, long-term goal? So when it comes, am I willing to give? Like you, every time I go on TikTok, they always block I will literally use a popular sound, and they're always blocking my sound. So you know what? I'm not about to be writing disputes. I'm just gonna take it as, maybe God don't want me on there, and I could be wrong, but already. I'm active on Twitter. Instagram, I have kind of taken a step back. So I have to edit my own videos and all this stuff. So I've given myself this, where it's like, you know what? I'm not playing this game with y'all. I'm not doing this times a week. I ain't doing none of that. And if that means slow progress for me, that's fine. That's me. Because I realized that I have a family to raise outside of this. I have a niece. You know what I mean? And that's just one of the things I have going on. Also, so if these platforms are so time consuming, then I need to figure out able to give. And I'm okay with not going by that, and also putting more emphasis on how I'm using it. Like building thing I love to do is I hit artists up with voice messages. Yo, I just want to please keep going. You know, and I plant seeds that way as opposed to always post content. I'm feeling like, hey, I already got a bunch of content. I got over 40 playlists. I'll just keep reposting those. And when I get to the new stuff, it's when I get to it. And that's something I had to realize for myself, because again, when you're doing and you know, you don't have a team, so you have to be strategic with your time, because if you get so caught up, now you're kind of taken away from you know, what is the product that you're pushing? What is the album, you know, in terms of artists? And are my steps aligning with that? And also kind of just, you know, for me, it's always about alignment. So I'm like, I'm planting these seeds. I expect them to grow right away, because the moment you get into this scarcity mindset, you have a limited time, I must pump all this content. Now you're kind of really need to be aligned with, you know. So you might start going the aren't for you, start falling for scams. So I feel like it's really understand that because I'm doing the work, it's going to pay off. And you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's like you said, pacing is important, you know. Even though I like to be active, like for just using myself as an example, even though I like to utilize all the platforms, I only post once a day on every platform. Not because I can't, because I have pictures, videos, content on content. You said something important about repurposing old content. I think that's vital. You know, if it might be old to you, but it might be new to other supporters. So repurposing content,
Right.
and time management. That's really what it comes down to. So figuring out what works with your pace, with your schedule, and you know, it's really not a race at all. You know, it's really a marathon. And if you make a couple hurdles, couple mistakes, that's what it is. I know I have. Well, I didn't rebranded and switched up and did all kind of other things. And I think I'm just now getting to a place where everything feels like it's authentic, it's as it should be. And I think you said something else. You also talked about alignment, which I think is vital. Your art should always align with your most authentic self. And in that line, what you share and how you share it on these platforms so also align with your authentic self. Um, for other artists that are watching or may watch this, I was talking to someone who had worked in the industry, and he gave me some tips about what each platform is used for. So YouTube is more so for like your long form content. Now they're adding shorts, but the shorts end up leading to long form content. Instagram is really all about branding, the look of your brand, the feel, how people kind of receive you on that in that way. And then Twitter is really more so for those who like to blog, who, you know, have a lot of thoughts that they like to share. So somebody like me and you, right, who blog, who talk, you know what I'm saying? Twitter is a welcome platform for us because that's what we already do innately. And then things like TikTok. Really, TikTok is just to go viral. Like, and if you ain't really trying to go viral and you know, shorten your attention span in 30 by the time next month roll around. I'm not going to suggest that you use TikTok for branding, but it is good for exposure. So again, it's just about how you use the platform, right? If exposure is not really your thing, then don't really worry about TikTok. Worry more so about, you know, connecting with your audience via like Instagram or through like Twitter, something like that, where you can actively engage. You know, if your focus, like if your focus right now is, okay, what do I want my brand to look like? IG is a great space for that. IG is great for business, but it is a weird platform in that it draws you into comparison mode. So again, use discernment. Uh, and like I said, YouTube is really for more so like if you have longer discussions that can't necessarily be said in like a 60-second clip or like a picture. That's when you come to, you know, YouTube and those type of platforms. So I think we pretty much kind of covered the industry pretty good as far as all those things. So now we get to talk about the fun part, music. What is your thoughts on current hip hop music as far as sonically, lyrics, things of that nature?
We'll put it out there that there's mainstream and then there's indie, right? Who gets the most promotion? And when I have to speak on the artists that get the most promotion, that they aren't deserving. But what I'm saying is it very much seems like there's a formula involved with the content. So sometimes we don't get the most content. But on the other hand, we do have some people who kind of slip through those cracks, you know, really deserve their spots. And I see a lot of new things. I see a lot of transparency. I see a lot. There's a whole lot of pain underneath all these songs. You know, a lot of pain. It seems like a lot of people are discussing their issue, you know, their trust issues. Every other song is can't trust nobody. You know, and you hear that over and over. You're like, damn, it's a lot of people that don't been hurt out here. You know, and the money that they rap about. You know what I'm saying? And then we also, you know, some of these tools that are used, you know, sex, way of saying they have power, you know, there's a whole lot of that, more creativity when it comes to the indies. Although there are some independent artists who try to, could be their personalities, or could be that they're being somebody they're not, to try to. I see a whole lot of creativity, a lot of willing to try or meshing them, and I also I'm happy about the visibility of women being more visible. I'm loving that, and that can be a two-sided hand. You know, it's the types that constantly get promotion, and then you of the people that are being ignored. But on the other hand, when I think about that the women are making today, it is diverse. It's constance. You know what I'm saying? It's resistance. Like, hey, y'all been telling us all this time we're just a piece. Hey, now I'm gonna dangle this ass over your face. You know, and you know, or I have power. That's why you talking so bad about me, because I have power in my pussy. I can see, I see that it can be empowering, but sometimes I want to see more diversity. But I do feel like it's breaking through mainstream. There are a lot of women that are being diverse. What gets promoted is the ones who are not as diverse. You know what I mean? What gets promoted, like a bunch of women like Doechii. Oh my God, love her. She's got signed with before TDE. She's showing that, hey, I can do pop, I can do rock sounds, I spit, and I can sing. I'm seeing a lot of women that are that can do maybe tape, you know, can sing, dance, rap, act. So I'm seeing really happy for that. And as far as men goes, and I hate to say it, a lot of the male rappers are allowed to continue to be mediocre. Not saying that they're all mediocre, but I want to make sure I say that. It's as if they're allowed to always stay the same, never change their flow, never change the producers they work with. It's kind of like, here, I present this shit to you, it's me. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see there's indie and there's mainstream. I listen to indie artists more than mainstream. In fact, the majority of the artists I listen to on a day-to-day basis are mostly South Carolina artists sprinkled in from maybe from Georgia, Florida, New York, whoever. They're kind of have a diverse palette, because if I have to depend on what mainstream is giving me to be satisfied. It's only a few, like Dreamville. I would say Dreamville. They may be considered indie labels, but they have that mainstream, and they're really, they're really our saving grace. You see the diversity. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And outside of those artists, very few to get that level of promotion. So shout out to Kendrick and J. Cole, because and then once you grandfathered in, you gonna always have somewhat of that spot. But you know what I'm saying? They're not able. You gonna hear the same 5 songs on the radio, same to 5 artists. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it seems like it's just really repetitive. You know what I'm saying? But also down on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see some hits. I see hits. I see some things that, but that's why I have to keep making the distinction, because the indies are, and not enough people are appreciated because they're so focused on the clout. Oh, I don't know them. Okay.
Okay, so I will definitely agree with you about the disparity between what is accepted from a male artist and what's accepted from a female artist. Generally speaking, I feel that just from my observation, most people who are signed, or their label has a partnership with a major label, even if the story is even if the story and the music is very well put together, it's essentially still money, clothes, hoes, and then black trauma, right? Those are always going to, if they're a signed artist, or a part of a label that has indie label that has a partnership with a major label, that's usually going to be money, clothes, hoes, and black trauma. I will agree with you that Dreamville is kind of breaking boundaries, because although they do kind of fit in that category, of as far as what they talk about, they do it in a much more elegant way than previous artists, right? They understand that, okay, this is what the label is going to sell, but I'm not going to compromise what I'm talking about. And you, even as far as the indie artists, right? You were definitely right on that. They're even at our show this past Saturday, there was a producer there that was just like, "Yo, there's so much talent here. I thought it was just trap music," and we had to tell him, like, "Nah, man, this is deeper than just, there's more than just trap music in South Carolina. There's a lot of artists in the Carolinas, period, that draw influence from so many places." I've been learning through a producer I was working with. His name's LD Beach. Shouts out to him. He's just been telling me the story of different curators from the Carolinas that have gone on to influence some of the major acts we know. Whenever you guys get a chance, look up the Black Godfather. This is someone in the industry who literally made sure that our people were good when they walked through those doors. And the even the industry heads had to recognize his influence as far as working with us and making sure that, like, this brother made sure that we were treated fairly when we did these deals, and that everybody got to win, whether it the quote unquote label wins, but the artist wins as well. And my biggest thing is always lyrics, right? I have no issue with the trap sound. I have no issues with the blending of sounds because hip hop has always done that. We've always, like, it's one of the only cultures that can take it. Like, what other genre can have a guitar, like a electric guitar playing over a beat, and then the next track have like symphony orchestra over like some, you know what I'm saying? There's not a lot there. There isn't really a lot of cultures and music genres that blend in that way. Again, it's just the lyrics, right? We want to speak life, right? I will stress this to every artist watching, and I'm gonna put myself on the screen. Fam, be intentional with your art, please, and thank you. Be mindful that what you say on wax manifests. It don't discriminate. You're literally saying mantras on wax. Be mindful. So when it comes to just lyrics, this is a funny thought. COVID shook up the world. And numerous other things happened, right? Why does it make sense to still rap about guns? Why does it still make sense to rap about drugs? Now, if you're talking about your progression from these things, that's fine. But when you're kind of glorifying it in order to, be relevant or be popping or etc., then it's like, okay, now I have to look at your intention. And again, I was reminded by someone else that we can't police other people's stories. It's just, again, I'm just talking about being intentional when you're making your music. And really, that when it comes to the music now, that is my main thing. It's just being intentional, being sure that you're standing behind what you're saying whenever you're making these tracks. And you and I both know that we don't have to talk about the skill level and the talent level as far as the music that's being put out right now, especially by indie artists. I mean, brothers like Mike Sound, the Deadly Venoms, people like New, produced all the producers like Airborne, Easy Ola, who is also an artist. Like, the talent level is just there. So we don't. And these are all artists that don't glorify the money, clothes, holes, and trauma, right? They often talk about the transformation of that. So I think that personally, I think that South Carolina is next. The last shall be first, and the first will be last. Even though we're always put last on the list as far as music, I think that as the industry starts to stray away from the violence, which I think it is. As much as mainstream wants to promote all that stuff to us, I think that we are really drifting towards, being much more family oriented as far as our art. Will it take time? Of course. Is everyone going to walk that path? No, but change is slow. So, as long as an artist watching this, or you and myself and yourself, as long as we're being intentional with how we're moving, I think it's gonna eventually grow to, us being much more in a family oriented space. So that's I think that's a good take as far as the music that's going on now. And it kind of bridges into our next topic about intentional art. How Let's see how I phrase this. Do you think every artist is intentional with how they make music? And if not, why?
Intention, the work, you know, being intentional, that can be relative to the person. Where
Okay.
a person might, they intentionally want to put out violent music. They, in their hearts, they feel like, you know what, I gotta prove to somebody else. So I feel like underneath it is there's a lot have rage in them, who have anger, they have pain, and sometimes it's kind of excited. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So I feel like with maturity, so I picked back up again, back into coming off of like an 8-year hiatus, because I was writing poetry in middle school, raps in high school, about shit. It was really like, you know, because I grew up in the crunk era. I graduated high school in 07. This was Lil Jon, Pastor Troy, you know, so this is the type of stuff I'm rapping about, you know. In college, I started to progress a little more. You know what I'm saying? End up having children. Took a lot of time off. Returned, and when I first came back, sometimes I would rap, listen to myself, and I remember rapping for somebody else. They was like, "Damn, what kind of shit was you on?" Because that time I spent not writing, and I have all these bottled up feelings. You know what I mean? So I actually was gonna drop a project called The Rage, because I know that that's not all of me to get out right now. But then years later, like from 2016, when I returned, I can look back and see the evolution. You know what I'm saying? And that's because I had the spirit. So I had to have some experiences. Some people don't really have. I think they're real experiences. So they want to speak metaphorically all the time. So the pose, you know, but really, like, you can talk about, and also realize some of the things that I was manifesting when I would write my music. So that changed a lot for me, where I was like, well, let me talk about what I do want to see, release the pain and progress. You know, so I have a song talking about my spiritual journey, and then I kind of progressed. I was talking shit about how guys always coming to me wanting to have sex, and then boom, later on in the track, I'm gonna be with. Tell me why I'm with that man right now. You know what I'm saying? So spit it for you, kind of long, but just to show you that everything you keep writing is a very powerful medium, and music is a very powerful. So I will be going to the studio soon. Y'all might hear some of it soon. But I realized I needed time to write, and I needed time to grow and have experiences. I think people not sleep on. They might think, well, I ain't know nobody. I'm just a dad, and I just go to work. There's somebody that can relate to that. You know what I'm saying? You can find an edge to that. I'm in a sea of all these people that want to be thugs. Boom. There's a song right there. Did that answer the question?
No, definitely. Because you're talking about the different intentions of art. Another artist who's super dope, Neff the Great, or Nefertiti.
Yes.
She had a song about working from home. Like, and it was so, like, the way she delivered it, the energy she brought, like, it was so dope. And there's there's a lot to make music about. We live in an infinite universe. So I could rap about this podcast conversation, of course we could, there's many topics. And even what I always find like just interesting about how powerful music is that even if, like, the words have to match the intention as well, right? So if you're coming from an egoic place when you're making certain things, then you're going to get ego checked when that time comes, right? If like, you know, we've heard countless stories of artists that are gangster, quote unquote, and then when the moment comes for them to embody that, they fold, and then their true colors come out. You know, the truth needs no argument. Like, the truth is always going to reveal itself. So, um, you know, we're kind of bridging all these things together. The topics kind of all go hand in hand as far as, you know, intentional art, utilizing your tools, and really just not being sucked into what the industry wants for you, but instead cultivating your fan base. Even when we discuss the artists that are in the industry and don't necessarily glorify gun violence, or glorify the other things, um, they they really, um, they definitely have they built their own fan bases, right? Like that. That's something that's kind of unspoken, right? Before Kendrick, there was K Dot, and K Dot built his own following before he then approached a label, right? If we want to talk about more independent artists, people like La Russell or Russ, right? They've cultivated, you know, by utilizing the tools, they've cultivated their own audience and now have the leverage to go approach a label. And that's because they were intentional in how they made their music. They were intentional in how how they distributed their art. And even though Russ doesn't necessarily always talk about, you know, um, widely esoteric topics, right? I mean, he talks about being the best, and, you know, so on and so on. Which, this is another sidebar, and I love y'all to life, and I'm an MC, and I grew up battle rapping. Like, I had gun bars, we was outside, so I could say this, bro. There's more to talk about than you being the best rapper. Like, I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all, and I did it. Y'all can peep the catalog. I've done it, right? There's more to talk about than you being the GOAT, right? And if you can't contextualize it in a different type of way, like, or at least talk about your story or something like that, like, it's you're gonna start to, like, to me, artists that only rap about how good they are kind of boring. Like, that only, of course every rapper is gonna big up themselves. We gonna do, that's just hip hop. Like, I'm gonna tell you I'm dope. Like, that's just what it is. But I think not including your story somewhere in that, or not including some type of message, or having a theme, or like, what's the word, uh um concept, right? Not having something to kind of conceptualize all those ideas together is always gonna, you see the difference, right? Cole drops concept albums. Kendrick drops concept albums. They're not just like, here's my dopest songs, here you go. About how dope I am. Like, there's always some, you know, in all the greats, there's always some kind of concept that's tying everything in. Um, so regardless of what you say, your intentions are always going to show through how you distribute the music. So even if you say, "Oh, I'm the best rapper alive," or what have you, and continue to say that, if you have to also do the things that the best have done, right? And that comes in many ways. There's no one size fits all. Do what works for you. But um, yeah, I think that your intention is always going to show through through whatever art or medium you're using. Um, so kind of keeping the thing moving. Art and spirituality. So, you know, we both are in tune. We understand the deeper energies that's behind both music as well as our life in general. So, kind of speak towards that. How, and from your perspective, how integrated is spirituality in music?
Um, I there's a lot of artists who may not call themselves spiritual, because spirituality is not something that we can just put in a box. It's not a look. It's personal. You know what I mean? So they, I think people are looking for it to, like, okay, you look at this outfit I have on it, like, you know. know, I could be a person who never do anything spiritual, but it's going to present itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like music being made that is channeling the energy, like urgence and the popularity of drill. If you listen to like the drum sounds, it very much, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that there's some time. This is why when you get on the track, you do hear a lot of violent lyrics, you know, becomes are bringing that out, but also the energy of the person, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have like a lot of house sounds. Artists are starting to experiment with different. That's also another way, you know, it can be considered communal, and it's meant to get people out they seat and release.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this on Twitter. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to the new Ocean. There's this one song that they have called OM Goodness, and it has like the house sound, the drums. It just gets you going. And I just, after I did I end up breaking out into a meditative dance to like the whole album. But that song was where I released, and this is why people also have to be mindful that if you're not mindful, like you are taking in whatever the spirits of the artists are.
Mm-hmm.
I would never forget this shit. I ended up getting free tickets to go to that concert. It was the baby. It was what's his name? Kodak. But like came out. It almost felt like the whole entire Coliseum was in. Looking at some of the visuals he got playing, it's a bunch of his head spinning, crawling on the floor real fast, and I'm just like, yo, what the fuck, you know? And there are people who hate me, and I'm like, well, I mean, is this why they continue to defend him, even though he's, you know, like, is this why we have a hard time letting some of these people go because it's with their music? And the thing is, if this is diet, also okay. So let's say you get in your car every day and you listen to music about, you know what I'm saying? This is what you listen to all day, every day. I mean, you don't have nothing else. Now you got that urge to pull your gun out. You see what I'm saying? Even with some women, no disrespect, because I love me some Meg, okay? I love me some Meg. But certain people, you know, they might have meant this one thing, and now you're taking it, and all you listen to is City Girls and Meg, and this is your whole entire music diet. Now you feel a certain way when you're interacting with me. You know what I mean? And I don't think you need to invest in me in some kind of way, because that's really what they're saying. Invest in me. But it could be that you give off, you know what I'm saying? Or you requesting an investment from men you were. So I feel like all of these messages, especially, you know, it's weird. Even down to the type of production the artist chooses. We're seeing a whole lot of that, and I'm seeing, oh man, like I don't know if you know, she's an artist from the Bay Area. Sorry, not the Bay. She in LA. So she has a whole brand called Zen, and trying to get women into their you know, their sensuality. So she's very big on cannabis. So they smoke, you know, they dance, they sing, you know, that, and she's created her own lane where I don't have to wait for a major stage. I like to think a lot of that had to be because she's intentional about the type of music, the spirit she wants to embody in a, you know. So a whole lot of pretty much all music is spiritual, but there are some.
Right.
I think the key thing is there are some unsettled spirits who are not aware, and they're out here creating these music. And there's some who very aware. They, you know, they're not making music. They're making it for themselves. So they have to be mindful of what you're taking in to make sure, like I have playlists. I want to manifest money. Certain songs I want to put on there. I got spiritual bath music. This one I want to take a spiritual. But then, if I, when you work out, I want to feel, I want to fast. I want to. It's a certain spirit it brings out when I hear certain lyrics. So I feel music is spiritual, but you have to be mindful to make sure of the ratio of certain types.
There you go, and that's exactly it. Just like you said, I generally lean towards the other pole. So I love music that's uplifting. I love music that is cultivating all the healthy habits that I'm striving to embody. And I have to also recognize that there is a time for you to enjoy yourself, have fun, let loose. Um, However, one, I think that it is possible to make something that gives you that trap feel, but necessarily isn't negative. You're seeing a lot of I've actually noticed that with a lot of Christian-based artists, they're incorporating modern sounds and still, incorporating the word into it. But I'll like it. It's just recognizing both sides, right? As much as I am, woosah, and I like to be all, what I'm saying with that. Like I like "Stick" by Dreamville. Like I love that song. The beat is fire. Like I know they doing nothing but talking about gun talk. Like I recognize that. I just love the song. I vibe with it. And I think discernment is key. Every song has some sort of spirit in it. You just have to discern what type of spirit it is, and if you resonate with it. Um, for example, tweeted yesterday an acronym that I got from KRS-One about what the word gun means: God, universe, and nature. Right. So for me, anytime I hear guns or stick talk in a song, I immediately equate it to that acronym: God, universe, nature. So when I hit when Jid, well not Jid, who was that? I think it was Kenny Mason. When Kenny Mason's on that song, he's like, I got a new stick. I'm talking about I got a new God, universe, nature. You know what I'm saying? Versus, oh, I got a new you know what I'm saying? And that just comes from being mentally strong enough to transmute. And I know another thing, not everyone is going to have our taste in music because that's not what their energy is. So it's recognizing, okay, this is what that person listens to, and let them enjoy their vibration. I know what I listen to when I'm going to listen to music, but they're listening to this. So rather than creating friction over it, I think there should be a little bit more dialogue, or at least recognition that this is where someone is. Not everyone is at a different level in this thing. All of us, we're in a human body, so obviously we gonna do some human shit. We gonna mess up. We're definitely gonna stumble a little bit, right? But the stumbling isn't what stops you; it's getting back up, right? So if you stumble, as long as you get right back on, you know what I'm saying? As long as you get right back on the path, there really shouldn't be. You shouldn't upset yourself with what music people choose to listen to. Let people listen to today music. That's something that I had to learn, especially being very intentional. Like I've always been on the vibe of like, and I'm still on this. I still, speak to, yo, we can talk positive shit. Like you don't have to necessarily talk about being, oh, we was broke, we was down bad. Okay, but you're not no more. So talk about that. I used to get mad at J. Cole because he got millions and still talk about Dreamville shit. But on the off season, he did incorporate some of that talk into there. And at the end of the day, his music is for his fan base, his not fan base, for his supporter base, right? And that even kind of just to kind of backtrack a little bit, target audience, and this for me, and we gonna get there, but for me, who you're making music for, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for a specific group of people. I think that that is definitely something that can help a lot of artists um, stay in alignment with what they want to do with their music, right? So um, if you came from certain, if you came from like our neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying? Um, of course, you're going to naturally speak to the people in those neighborhoods because you're from there. Um, I think there's just a way to do it. I just feel like we could be more nuanced with it versus like saying, okay, forget trap music, I'm done. No, it's fine for people with certain vibrations, but let's just change the way we do it. So that way it's a little bit it's easier for someone who's in that space right now to transmute into a higher level. So like, yo, I used to sling this. I came from this. Yo, it was gunshots every night. Now I'm in a space where I'm having meetings and I'm doing this, this, and this, and translating the street smarts into the corporate world because it's the same thing, right? The same people who push.
3D Nati, are you familiar with her?
No, I'm not. I seen you.
Listen, I'm
Yeah,
obsessed with woman because she talks about growing up and she was a drug dealer. She started dealing drugs in like high school. You know what I mean? She ended up about to get in a huge amount of trouble, end up falling back. She still appeals to tell these stories like I used to do this, but this is where I'm at now. She also talks industry and how they treat women, how many times she don't have to go to label meetings. They was like, you want to suck my dick? Nah, I'm not selling out. You know what I'm saying? She ended up building her own studio, building her company. She do home improvement. She's sharing these stories, and she's a Sagittarius woman, and I love her. That's my Sagittarius rising. So like she can be really like in your face. You be like, did she really just say that shit? She's really, but she tells those stories of being an entrepreneur, realize these is what I see, and I gotta keep going. And talks about she tells how she grew up thinking her dad, was she in a suicide, but they told her all the time, he died another way. She's pouring all the way there, even talking about how toxic she used to be with men, like much range, you know what I'm saying, and just telling your own real life stories, showing people this used to be me, this is who I am now.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, there's nothing wrong with the range. Let's just express it in a way to where they can see the progression versus
Exactly.
we just came from here. Like, yeah, we came from here, but we're here now, and this is where we're going.
Because you can really inspire people. Some people are stuck on where they used to be. There's people who make it out with hood living and all that stuff. It's very, very much a spirit that even when you're out, you might start drawing because you're like, damn. So I'm alive. You know what I'm saying? I'm alive. Damn, who am I? You know what I'm saying? Because you operate so long in that. If you want to stay stuck on those old stories, you're kind of, your list stuck there. And I think it's great to like talk about your progression. People need to see your progression. Like, this is what I was. This is who I am now. This is why I grind, because this is why I do yoga. This is it's variation.
Yeah.
How you can tell, you can show your progression.
Yeah. So when it bring it back to our original question, the spirituality, right? That is all of life. Everything is spiritual. That's why I say life is art and art is spiritual. So your spirit, which is your driving force, your will is always going to be in your art. And I think that since our spirit and will is always in a state of change because change is the only constant, uh, if you share that though, if you share your transition stories, I think it helps. It's going to help you connect with the people who are really going to rock with you. Um, and that kind of ties us into our next. My next question is art and business. Um, there is definitely a distinction between who does it for the artistry and who does it strictly for the dollars and cents. Um, I like to believe that they can work hand in hand and in tandem. Again, everything is spiritual. So even the creation of a business is spiritual as well. I made a tweet about this, I think like last week or week before last, where I talked about right thought, right intention, right action. And it's something I got from my shamanism teacher. So the right, with the right thought, the right intention, the right action, you will always make sure that you cover all bases. So in terms of business, your right thought is the business idea. Okay, so bringing it to artists, right? If you want to essentially eat from your art, what business things can you do to either eat directly from the art or supplement it? This is why you see someone like you said 3D Nati, that's her name.
Yeah.
You said she does, yeah, she does home improvement, right? So, even though we are artists, um, the art, what we talk about should speak to who we are. So if um so that keep on topic. So that is the right thought. So who you are in your music should translate to whatever business idea that you may have. So that's the right thought. The right intention would be your mission statement. Okay, if you're starting this business, what are you going to do with it? Right? If you're in this industry, your thought is I'm a dope artist, so that's the right thought. Okay, I want to eat from this. Right thought, right intention. What is when you're sharing your art, what is that intention? When you're creating your business, what is the intention behind it? You could call that a mission statement or what have you, a tagline, etc. And then your right action is what you choose to do, right? How are you embodying that, right? How are you, um, in what ways are you expressing that art or expressing that business? What are you bringing to the marketplace? Um, so I think that they both, like I said earlier, they both go hand in hand. Um, but I really think that there should now. I really think that there should be um, more of a balance struck, particularly for indie artists, because obviously the major artists, the business stuff is taken care of for them by the labels and what have you, which is why, yes, um, this is why um, artists should be there. I think there definitely should be more of a balance truck as far as you know um, how we utilize the business part to progress our art form. So kind of give your perspective on that and um, just how you feel about uh, artists operating in the business world.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Take a little potty break. Every I think it sometimes it's a matter of sitting down with yourself, thinking, what do I really enjoy the most? And the things that I enjoy, like, I don't know if people realize this, but sometimes when you turn things that you it creates like a whole lot of stress for you. Like sometimes turning, I don't want to have to turn this into a business because that's more thinking, that's more planning in it. So I think there has to be a balance where there's certain where it's like it's no amount of money you can pay me to do this thing. But then let's say selling features is your thing, right? You and you don't you don't like their music. You think their music is trash. You think this is gonna tear my alignment with what I have going on. So I don't care if he has $10,000 for me. I'm not, you know. because every time you go against your true self, stress and chaos in your life, because you're gonna always regret it. Deep down, you knew you should need that 10,000 right now. But if I do it, this is okay in that context. Let's say you're an artist who talks about meditation. We talk about eating avocados, riding bikes. You talk about working out. And then you have an artist who is money holds clothes. And then you're just trying to figure out well, how that song and how would they add value to my brand? So what boundaries am I going to set to protect myself and to protect my gift? You do have to, it is a lot of creative things that you can do to be, you know what I'm saying? It's so much. Like, I'm going to take Tiffany J. She's like a protege of Angie Stone. That's like her aunt or something. Tiffany inspiration, right? So she has her artist brand. She does a lot of jazzy, soulful, soul R&B, neo soul, got range. So then she has a graphic design business, right? The artist. So then she has I can't even brand where she has like a mascot. Oh, Super Beauty. She has a mascot for Black boys and Black around in that. So she has a book and she does motivational out to different workshops with her mascot and pour into the kids attention to that. Now as a part of her artist brand, she does these I think that's what she call it, singlegrams, where do you want me to come out and your daddy, your loved one, for their birthday, tell me the song, I will bring some, come out and sing to them. So then there's booking artists for artist workshops where she speaks on how to throw your own event. So you can see all of these things kind of tie who's outside of that. That's who she is she's a creator, she's inspirational, and that she has connects back to her wanting to help people with their presentation, confidence, wanting to make sure people are eating. And one example, but once you realize like, yo, this is who I write down, this is what I'm not willing to compromise on, this is what I am with, depending on the situation. Like, for instance, a lot of artists are doing the whole perform for free. I'm not even mad at them because I want you to get paid. But then somebody who has like a new audience for you, or you see them starting from the ground up, they ain't got nothing to pay you, but you're gonna get good vibe. Is that the situation where you like, you know what, I'll compromise there because they're my people over here who asking for me? Nah, they gotta pay it back because I know they got it. So art and business, I think it's very important to on the business that you're in. Always doing research. I will tell you, I'm one of those people that I will choose spirit and art before the business, details later. and I try not to be that way, but I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm a mom of 3 boys. Okay, sometimes if I have to sit and plan out everything to get done, but I realize that I can just do things what my spirit calls me to do. Realizing, like, if anything happens along the way where I didn't have my business in, I can't choose to go with the action first. But I feel like a lot of times we've already been doing the work that we haven't put a price tag on. So we have to always come back to center, like, all right, what are the guidelines around this. You know, whatever it is you're delivering, people know it. They getting. You know, like I just introduced. I do readings, astrology chart readings for artists. Some people may have had it chart to artists and how it aligns with their artist journey. And I would bring in insights, and I would listen to their music too. And I'm like, okay, for you, you know, and according to these elements in your chart, this is what you might need to focus on. Of course, you might have this personal issue that's blocking you from creating with yourself. So I still, you know, I didn't know what to charge, but I people where it's like I'd rather see people get access than to be a millionaire discounting prices until the demand goes up. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to is how I deliver it. Like that, the one I've done it for artists before, but this one was the first time I'm gonna put together a Google Slides presentation, and then I'm gonna get it out to them. I'm gonna probe them and interview them, ask them questions to see if this is true for you, or can you see? You know, that service that ended up being like 3 hours. I was like, damn, I didn't know I was gonna be on long, you know. But that comes with a part of in future is being willing to test things out. You know, my intuition was like, yo, if you do it this way, you're gonna create a lot of value. Now I can improvise and revise. And I think, you know, you have to treat the business. Sometimes you go in the studio and you like, yo, this shit is trash. Nothing is coming out right today. Reason. And sometimes you gotta go, you you go back to the, you know what, maybe the time I need. Maybe because I ain't been sleeping. Maybe because I'm stressed about this. I don't know how to channel it into it. So with business, you kind of always got to be assessing what needs are being met, and considering the timing, you know. So of action and a lot of like goal setting to those goals and making sure it align with what you're trying to do.
Yeah, definitely. You touched on a lot as always. Definitely negotiating your price, right? Knowing how much value you bring, and then you know it's priceless. So figuring out, okay, what if we doing dollars and cents, how much of my time is this worth? Equal energy exchange, right? Which is ultimately what you're doing when you're setting your price. So even if someone doesn't have the dollars and cents, okay, how can we how can we both have an equal energy exchange? I think I'm actually working on a music video for one of my songs, and the producer is the one shooting it. So, um, being that we both collaborated on the song, he has his credits. We did all of that stuff. Um, he doesn't mind doing the video because he knows that, okay, it's his work that's being shown by both as an artist and as a videographer. And by me even promoting the song, he's automatically getting promo as well. So you know what I'm saying? Equal energy exchange. Um, Another one of my guys did a video. Shouts out to Lamonte Foyer. Um, he was striving to do a little bit more videography work. So I said, hey, we came to the consensus, hey, let's shoot this music video. I'll promote it. You shot it, so obviously you're going to get promotion there. It's my song, so then that again is a collaborative effort. And as far as I guess introductory business, I think the barter and exchange system is priceless, because even if we are, performing for free, quote unquote, okay, what other things are we able to do outside of this? Well, if there's a videographer that's at this event, he's going to video it. If this platform has great traffic, you're going to benefit from that, right? And so on and so on. We get obviously see that through, Black Nerd Mafia and what they do, right? Of course, not every artist is going to get paid from their shows, but that platform has so much momentum behind it that an artist can come. That is aligned with the brand, by the way, because CRAZEE is on some like, yo, if you're talking about certain things, it's a no-go. But you're able to see how that type of collaboration can really benefit. Now, on the flip side of that, and you touched on it, but this is why I emphasize to artists who are willing to listen, you know, really, you're not doing the paperwork to look official. You're doing the paperwork to protect your art. You're doing the paperwork to protect your brand integrity and your value. That's why you do your copyrights and you do your BMI and all that other stuff. That's why you establish certain business aspects so that one, you're protecting your art, and two, you are preparing you like your brand. So your brand is who you are. So you want your music to touch the people that need your message, that need your story. The only way you can do that is by presenting it to them in a way where they can say, "Oh, he on my type of time," or she like, "Yeah, I'm rocking. Yeah, okay, I can see." You know what I'm saying? So, that I think is where we can kind of begin to not necessarily blur the lines, but integrate the business aspects into our art better, and then integrate more creative ideas into business. Because if you're not a creative, it's gonna be like if you don't have some type of creative mindset, it's hard to succeed in business. Like you can be as logical and I got A B C D E F G, that's cool. But if you're not able to be expansive with how you operate your business, you're gonna find yourself just chasing the dollar and cents. Oh, well, according to the stats, this song is the best. So maybe if I make a song like that, I'll get my number. And that's where you begin to start compromising integrity. So yeah, it's really you really it is easier to marry the two when you know how how to protect your art and know how to present your art to the people that need it. And yeah, that. So even with the business part, and we talked a lot about indie versus industry, self-created platforms versus seeking a platform. So from your experience, when is it good to seek out a platform to build your following or build your supporter base, and when is it good to create your own platform?
I believe there's value in going to something that is already built. From
Definitely.
ground up, there's a whole lot of work that goes into that, and people talk about consistency like it's the right thing. Just do the work. Just do the work. Okay, cool. But when we have more than work, we have more than art. We have more things to worry about. So since if people say I want to be an entrepreneur, so they don't potential company because I don't want to work. I want to work. I want to do this work. The systems in place to operate like that business. So when you don't have, it's easy to go ahead and get started on another platform. Building your own should always be your end goal, because eventually you're going to outgrow it. Like if y'all look at my Instagram right now, listen, not playing these algorithm games. I'm just not doing it. If I don't have the time to create the content where I want, I'm just not going to force into sacrifice sleep anymore. I've sacrificed a lot of sleep in time in the past. No, you're gonna get what you're gonna get. However, I've always had your own. When I first started in 2018, I had my own website/blog. I made more to the platform that were already built because of accessibility and ease. And sometimes I do regret that, but that was also because resources on my end. And I over the pandemic to like get my website back up and running, and it was just so much. I was like, by the time I get done with this, I don't have my ear to the street a whole lot, you know. So I said, this can't be a goal right now because I have other pressing problems. So I did start on Medium to have my own podcast. I did these things, but it's still using. But I realized that there are stages in business where you have to make you have to make sure that you're making money before you start investments all willy-nilly. You have to make sure you have not an investment don't mean it like, do you have the time and energy investment? And if you don't, utilize the stuff that's already built. But in the end goal, you want to be planning. Even when you do create your own platform, you still can go back to those accountable traffic from there to your stuff. That's
correct.
That's the whole part. Like you see my Instagram, you see the visuals, the aesthetic that gonna make you click on the link that's gonna take you outside of that and where I'm staying there. And because I've been studying, I've been studying areas of tech for the past 2 years because I was trying to find a career place to go. UX design, which is user experience design, but I'm another path first on user experience design, which user experience design is based. It's a mesh between psychology and design and the technology. It's like deciding, I want to design this app to do this, and so that when this person clicks on this button, it takes them there. The whole design is making things easy to access. I'm in a convo with a guy about on my Facebook. He was saying that the older radio because they don't know where to go, and a lot of savvy. They're not tech savvy, so we have to figure out how can we meet the users so that why are they on Facebook? Why are they using this for? And how can I create a app, website, or platform out so that it has similar capabilities that reminds them of that ease, so that if they're inaccessible, inaccessibility that can be considering your disabled people. Can blind people use it? Can people who are dyslexic use it? Do you have your font big enough for people who can be bright colors so you won't blind them? So it's a whole science of all of that and bridging that gap. And I think that has to be considered when you're building your own platforms. To complain and say, well, I got this website, ain't nobody visiting it. Does it work properly? Do all the point? You know what I'm saying?
Is it optimized?
Yeah, it's so many. That's something I want to do in the near future is have my own app where you go and see what artists Creep listen to right now. Check out, here's this. But it's, that's a phone game because that's going to involve some. I'm going to set it up and figure it out. No, I don't did that before. Trust me.
Right.
Sometimes when you're running a business from survival, you like, fuck it, we're figuring out, let's do it. But when you have a grander vision and your vision is, I don't want these people to be on Facebook to access me. If I'm going to create my own, I have to consider, is it something worth downloading? Is this worth my app space? What app am I willing to delete? Because I gotta have this.
Right. And you definitely you spoke to a lot of the things that I know I've done in my artist journey, because I was really in that space of, yo, I'm gonna figure this shit out. So whether it was like designing my own website, with all the things in mind, right? How big is the font? What colors are we using? Is it easy to read? Is it easier for them? Is it easy for them to get from one page to the next? How how easy is it to get to the next platform, or how, all of those little specifics, right? That people really have dedicated teams for, because you know um, as good as someone's music may be, or someone's as cool as the idea may sound, or whatever, what is the experience like? Like, how is your idea easily comprehended by the people that need it, right? So if I came to you and said, I don't know, I sell shoes, but you go on my website and you don't see shoes anywhere, you just see a bio about me. Like, if it's not talking about the shoes and making it easy to get to that, then it's like, okay, and you say he sells shoes, but I don't really feel like doing that, and I gotta go here and here and here. All right, I'm done. Forget about it. Like,
Right.
people are that fickle, like, and people are that, you know what I mean? And you know, even though looks aren't everything, right? You still have to have a valuable product. It's very important to also have a presentation that speaks to that product. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you just put you see him. Y'all better get these, man. She trying to tag it, bro. She telling you now, telling you. So yeah, and even as far as starting out with another platform and then eventually building your own, I think a lot of the events that you and I go to, or have frequented, that's what they do, right? They give you a space to create your own platform. So something like High Low Art, where they give you an interview as well as stage time, right? That puts, even though it's their platform, it puts the focus on you for when you're on stage. So it's like, oh, this person has this, they got this going on. Oh, I'm gonna go check them out. And um, Black Nerd, obviously, he's doing his thing. Um, Things like Charleston Underground, um, they're really dope. I don't know if you checked them out yet, but definitely do that. They're really more like boom bap focused, more lo-fi type vibes. But they really, again, they give artists a platform so that they can build their own. I love, even though Dame Dash sometimes I'm like, I don't know, dog, it looks spooky. One thing he does do that I love is that even if people are working with him, he makes sure that they have their own vision. So anyone without their own vision can't even work with him. Like, okay, yeah, you work, yeah, we lit, boom, 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 boom. What are you gonna do? Like, and even me personally, like, I would rather have, I would rather have partners that I contract for a task over having a dedicated team for an extended period of time. Like, even if someone is on the team, they're there until they build their own shit. And then once they do that, then it's like, okay, boom. Now the dynamic of how we work changes, because now you're operating from a space of ownership. I'm operating from a space of ownership. It's easier to eat, build, and grow together. Um, so end goal is always your own platform, but at the end of the day, um, use use what's available until you have your own platform. So if you ain't got your own website, that's cool. Um, Use something like a link tree until you're able to build your own website. Then once you
Yeah.
do that, okay,
Google search for the most part, like for at least a basic page.
yeah,
You got a lot of those coming out. Create something for free, something that just at least points you to, your product.
right. So having portals to your music, any merch where people can support you. If you have an email list, which is you can do something called Gmass. That's a free app for Gmail that allows you to mass send out emails. So then boom, now you have a system for your email list where you don't have to necessarily pay. It's free, and you can do video. You can post video links, etc. So really explore all the tools that's available while you're creating your own platform. Just figure out what your needs are, what you like to accomplish, and then kind of go from there. Find people that are in the similar market or that align with what you're doing with your business. Get on those platforms to grow yours. And then that is just going to give you more encouragement to continue to build your own platform because you see the response from it. So, all right, we talked about where hip hop is right now, where music is right now as a whole, couple of business things. I guess from your perspective, especially being that, you have 3 sons and you see the climate that we're in just as melanated people where we're going towards, where do you see hip hop 10 years from now?
10 years from now. I definitely feel like a lot of the stuff that I feel like a lot of that, I'm not going to say it's going to disappear, but I do feel like we're going to hit the same because there's so many people that are tired of the. So I believe that that's going to create a resurgence or artists we want to see being uplifted. I do believe there will be more balanced and because there are platforms. Everybody we see now, every time you turn around, everybody not gonna make it 10 years down the road. But for those who are there, people are gonna realize we don't have to depend on radio. We don't have to depend on the same like Blad TV, and forms that. I'm sorry, I just hate to know that.
Nah, it's good, yo, because you said Vlad, I'm just like shenanigans.
Like, we didn't even talk about music at this point. So those voices are going to drown out, and if they don't drown, they'll exist because we will always see people who are not as evolved. But for those who do, I do believe that those communities are being created. You have to realize that there's a whole reset going on right now. When 2020 people dying from COVID and all this other stuff and whatever the fuck the powers that taking people out, and these systems, we're seeing these systems fall. So it only makes fall in place. So all the communities, all the entrepreneurs and the artists, the creatives that now they're going to be uplifted, and they might look different. Vibing with Cr3, something else then if I'm still podcasting by or at least the work will be accessible. I do believe it will evolve, and I do believe there will be more centric sounds. The way Afro beats is so impactful right now.
Took over. Afro beats took over, dog. Real talk.
Because before I even knew what Afro beats was, I was always one of those people that I feel like I came out the womb dancing and whining and stuff. And, they kind of frown upon you for dancing a certain way, but it was always in me. I feel like some of those sounds will be more popular, and a lot of artists, a lot of rap artists mingling with those sounds. I do feel like that in-house, these are all music is really about the drums. The drums is bringing everybody together, and I really believe a whole lot of that. And I do believe there will be back to a more loving, soulful R&B. And I'm not saying that I'm talking about mainstream because it's a lot of good R&B. It's who gets the most promotion. I feel like those will all mesh. It will be the alternative sounds, the R&B, the Afro beats, reggae. We will see a whole lot more of those sounds and more artists being more real with themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because this I do believe it's time to reflect. There's a lot of people who are in and out of the job market right now. You know, we can't even shame people for being unemployed no more, because look at
we striving right now. Like, we want to make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? And I think you and I both, right? We're exploring other fields to where we can do our art and still sustain, and you know what I'm saying? So I'm with you.
It's almost like we're proud right now. We're proud all these things that they programmed us. You gotta have this, you gotta have that. And we are willing to struggle to figure out if it's for us or not. I believe that is going to come out in the artistry, where we're going to be more authentic. All the things that we complain about, money holds cards closed, we're just going to be like, that's cool, but it's not so much emphasis there. And I do believe this is from all of these individual contributors. I'm believing that we need to build tribes. We need to build, and I believe that there's going to be a series of events that kind of force us to be like, all right, alone, or we're going to build. So
right.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty optimistic, and I could be wrong about all of this, but
No, that's a negative. You speaking it, that means it already happened.
Yeah, like I mean, and I'm just projecting because it's an energy that I've been, we in the 2020s now. Like, it's gonna be a lot of changes and a whole lot of returning back have been headed. So it might do, but a lot of the stuff is just risk.
Yeah. And I'm 1000% with you. I see the shift in just, I think at every level of, I'll use hip hop, of course it's music, but at every level of hip hop, I'm starting to see the shift in, okay, I'm really not seeing as much trap music. I'm really not seeing as much as like that vibe. I think people really are I think they're just tired of repeating the same cycles, as well as it's almost like, matter of fact, I'll do it this way. People are going to change, not only because it starts internal, of course. I think people are just tired of being used. People are tired of being exploited, and they see that quote unquote trap music or gangster rap or what have you. They see that those who run certain industries want to exploit that for profit, and they like, yo, you're not finna use me to keep getting the bag, so let me switch up so you don't use me for a bag. Like, so
or
that, yeah, right.
Or self.
So there you go. Yep. So I think that as we put more value in ourselves and only accept the things that are of, like, that we find valuable, and only resonate with the thing, or only operate with things that we really resonate in, like, it's just the industry is gonna phase out. And you said something important about building a tribe. For me, both tribe and infrastructure, right, are the same thing, different sides of the same coin, right? So our tribe, right, the values, the morals, how we choose to operate, what we do and don't allow, that's the same as a quote unquote business infrastructure. It's just because humanity starting to feel itself a little bit, you know what I'm saying, figuratively and literally, we're realizing that, like, we really have to build our own, whatever that looks like, even if we have to kind of pimp the butterfly. So, right, I didn't invent Google Chrome, I didn't invent Restream, you know what I'm saying, but of course I'm going to use it as a platform to continue to do what I do, right? And even when we were talking about the self-created platform versus going to another one, same concept, you know, using the tools that you have available to build your own in the world, not of the world. Yeah, we know the system be on some shenanigans, but how, if you know that, then how are you going to operate in it, right? There is a game that has to be played, but you choose what game you play. You know what I'm saying? So I really think that, you know, hip hop is just going to progress to being, I think it's going to mature as a music genre. People are going to continue to see the value in it, and that we're really just going to. I think we're just taking control back of our own culture, right? We're learning to police ourselves. It's subtle, you know. There's always going to be some type of hiccups along that path, but it's always towards being us, you know, expressing our stories authentically and having control of how our stories are distributed to the world and not skewing how we look at things. Um, so yeah, man, I see a bright future for hip hop. I do, and this is a little bit more on the esoteric tip, but I really think that something is going to happen between now and 2030 that brings all of humanity together. I have no idea what it is. I don't know what it's going to look like. I can't give you the how on none of that. I just know that something is going to happen that is just going to unite humanity and realize, oh shit, we've been worrying about the wrong damn thing. Let's fix that. Okay, these systems still here. Nah, fuck these systems. But let's use them so that we don't have to go repeat the same cycles again, right? Even when we talk about business, the principles, certain principles are not changed. You still have to put yourself in front of the people that need to see you, and as much as you can allow, and as much that is respectful to that person's space. You still got to market. You know, you still, customer service is always A1, right? So, you know, treating your clients, treating your fellow artists, your peers, respectful, those types of things, so that they continue to work with you. Like certain principles are just not going to change, and it goes back again to how we used to operate in the tribal sense, right? Morals, certain values that are not going to change. You know, treat others as you want others, treat others as you would treat yourself, you know, the golden rule, and etc. And I think these are just going to become louder and louder until they're impossible to ignore. And I think it's kind of already getting to that point. Regardless of how we want to feel about Kyrie and Kanye, that situation brought a lot of light to what we have allowed other people to do with our culture. So now the ball's in our court. Okay, we see this. What are we going to do about it? Some people are doing something about it. Some people don't care. And that's their decision. They're entitled to their decision. But a change has to be made because, again, change is the only constant. So I just see it nowhere but up. And I am grateful to not only be a part of this culture, but also to have learned the roots of it in my journey as well. You know, where hip hop really originally started. You know, the principles of peace, love, joy, and unity. The ways we express hip hop, which is graffiti writing, DJing, MCing, and dancing, right? AKA wall art, divine speech, dancing, and I won't say the manipulation of nature, but the using of one's environment, right? All humanity has always done that and will continue to do that, and hip hop is just the current embodiment of that. So we've been on here a good little minute. I know you probably got other things to do. Is there anything you want to tell the people? Any advice, insights that you haven't already spoken on that you know you want to inform people of? And also let them know where they can find you. I kind of got the little ticker down there, so that's her at name on every platform. Vibing with Cree, definitely subscribe to all the things.
You left out of G.
No. Okay, hold on. We can fix that right now. Nah, it's cool. We can fix that right now. So yeah, any any words of wisdom and let people know where they can find you.
Words of wisdom. Everybody needs some form of therapy. And therapy, if we're talking about talk therapy, it's not always accessible. Taking time, journal, and reflect on self.
Hey, you heard Kendrick, real nigga don't need no therapy. No, I was playing.
That you know, the ways in which you were traumatized. And sometimes it's hard, which is why I think it's sometimes it's, you know, sitting back, realizing all, even over the years, and really like thinking, damn, this might be true or might not have wanted to hear that. Because as long as we are accountable for ourselves and the energy we put out, we can continue to realize there are ways in which we be in our own way. Is like my homegirl did this on the last podcast, and sometimes it's you versus you, you know. And it's just really important to get out there in nature, you know, and get some body work done, you know. And by body, BBLs, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, like getting massage, Reiki, yoga, acupuncture, anything that finds things that are going to help those traumas and different things fall from your body. Really, I just felt like it's so important, and once we can get to, comes easier to connect with the art we want to create. And journey, none of this shit is pretty. Healing is not pretty. It's not. I don't care how.
Boy, that shit ugly hell, boy. Yo, it be real in these streets, man.
And what? Nah, that shit really look. That shit was really not it though. You know what I'm saying? You got to sit in that pain, sit in them tears, those frustrations, for moving in ways that where you betrayed yourself, or you know, you did things you weren't cool. The only thing that's gonna heal us all is healing ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We can align with other people, and you don't have to do the work alone. You know what I'm saying? Here, you think him getting me on this podcast accident? None of this was accident. It's not accident.
We talked about this actually. We literally talked about this on your podcast episode, like where just we touching on the things that we already talked about. But even I'm gonna have you on the podcast, and we gonna talk that talk. So
and at some point too, cause like yeah, man, we you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I actually have I definitely I got some ideas I want to run by you. It may not be right now, because my main thing is if I ask someone to, work with me, I want it to be from where you are able to work, not just from fuck that. I want you to be in. I want you to utilize your gifts to their maximum potential when you rock on yours truly. So I got some ideas I'm gonna run by you, things that we've already talked about, and we're gonna see how we can continue to work this thing out, man, and further build what I think is gonna be one of the most thriving places in music in the future, which is here. Right. Even if we have to go to like a Charlotte or go to an Atlanta to visit or, build our platform in other ways and travel. Right. The goal should be to travel and then bring it back to where you're from. So that way you can expand, because I don't care where I go, what I do, whatever it is. The South Carolina music scene is responsible for the person that is sitting in front of the screen right now. So whether that's Ty Davis in More Than Words, whether that's Miss Tanya Mormon, whether that's Quasi with Black Nerd Mafia, whether that's Charleston Underground, whether that's Kev with Common Ground, whether that's Hilo Art, whether that's like, you know what I'm saying? There's so many of these platforms that have really just begun to really help artists. So I'm bringing all that back here, and we're going to integrate this into one entity where people can authentically express themselves and feed themselves. So yeah, this is only the beginning, for real.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. So ladies and germs, we've been on here almost 2 hours, man. I'm gonna strive to get this posted on Spotify as well. Thank you so much, Cree, for tuning in. Thank you to pretty much everyone that decided to watch this or will watch this. I actually realized I can have more than one person on the stream, so that means group combos are definitely gonna happen.
Okay.
I low key, I don't know if I can do it. But I want to put all 5 of them on the pod. Like, I want to put all 5 of them on the platform and have that like just to, you know, yeah.
And
that would be a really.
I want to be there for that.
Okay. I think I can have up to 6 people. So yeah, I'm gonna have all y'all, because I if I'm not mistaken, you were the reason that a lot of the Venoms came together, right? Yeah. So why not? You know what I'm saying? So that's it, guys. That's all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, peace and POE the gang.